floating creates space for me to be my own therapist. And I'm a firm believer that the answers that I need and the answers that all of us need are within. And so floating creates that quiet, silent, absolutely still space for me to look within to find the answers I need, or to process the information that I need to process, right? It's not someone handing me a bag full of drugs. It's not someone handing me a handful of shoulds or a pocket full of advice or guidance, right? It's just that container, that safe container for me to be whatever I need to be, for me to feel and think whatever I need to think, and then to finally find that place where I can let go all the way and surrender and feel safe, right? And I think that a lot of that, those things that flare up for me personally with regard to post-traumatic stress disorder have to do with triggers in an external environment, right? And not feeling safe. 12 months of not feeling safe. And so in that float container, I feel safe, right? It lets me know that I can, in this time right now, regardless of what happened, back in the combat zone or through military experience, like regardless of those experiences that made me feel unsafe, in this moment of now, in that float chamber, I can feel safe. I can be safe. It's safe for me to let go and surrender.
The experience going in is not what I thought it was going to be. I thought I was going to have to focus on really having to float and keep my head above the water, and that's not the situation at all. When you get in there, it's kind of like laying on a bed. You don't really feel like you're wet, and you can just kind of lose yourself in it. Moving your arms to above your head, to your side is completely simple. The head doesn't go under. Completely relaxing. So it's definitely the most different kind of therapy I've ever done for physical fitness or anything else.
I was trying it out of desperation. Quite honestly, beforehand, I wasn't sure that it'd work with me because I have a hard time getting my brain to shut up. It just wants to ruminate over every little thing that's going on right then. So I wasn't sure that it'd work for me, being isolated in a tank with no input. I thought I'd need something to keep my brain busy while I was in there. And on my first float, I was just stunned. I was in there for maybe 15 minutes, and then I realized that I wasn't worrying about anything, and that with the air and the water the same temperature as me, that I really couldn't tell where the water and the air and I all met. It just seemed like I was just floating, and it took my pain down to the closest pain-free that I can get is floating. I think that there is a definite purpose for floating in addressing things like PTSD, but I also think that for most police officers, there is a mindset that isn't necessarily open to floating. Because it's still, when you talk to people about it, most people still don't even know what it is. So educating people on what it is, I kind of see as partly my responsibility as a floater too, is to explain what it can do for you and the kind of relief, especially with a group that may not necessarily lean that direction. It's seen as new agey, out there kind of business, and I try to explain to people it's not. And I found that it's been very helpful to me because I do have PTSD, and that is, I would say, the only negative thoughts that I ever let intrude in there is over events that happened when I worked. But I find doing that, then they don't impact me as much after that. And each time it's a little bit. It's like I'm sweeping a little bit away at the cobweb, of how it impacts me. I think all cops should be educated in doing it because I think it would make a huge difference. But that's going to be hard. It's the same thing with the military, although I think the military is more open to it now because of the emphasis on PTSD.
It's the mirror that it holds up to you, that when you are truly alone with your thoughts, pretty soon you realize that those patterns you brought in with you, those things that allow you to be angry at others or at yourself, or hold on to revenge or righteousness, you soon realize it all comes from within, that it's up to you and what you can do with it. Floating opened that up to me, because pretty soon there weren't outside forces that I was responding to. It was just me and the things I was saying to myself from within. Don't be scared. Yeah. Let go and succumb. And even if you are afraid, just breathe through it. Be alright. Have faith in yourself and recognize nothing bad's going to happen in there. Let it do its thing. Let you do your thing. It's an opportunity to just shed all that static and nonsense that it can reverberate in you. And you have an opportunity to be in a place where you can shed all of it for an amount of time where it creates good. There's nothing freaky about it. It's just good. And if you think about it, if you're an intellect, and you want to over-intellectualize it, if you just think about it for a sec, complete isolation is not a bad thing when it's done in a setting like that. It's a lab in which you can just allow yourself to shed all that static, all that nonsense. Just leave it behind, just for an hour and a half. That's all. It's cool. You'll be alright. And it's just good. It's just good. Yeah.
And so if I've had a rough week or a long week that's been demanding mentally, physically, emotionally, I can come in and quickly disconnect for 90 minutes and get this complete and total reset. And then the other thing that's true too is, like, it doesn't matter if I've had a busy week or haven't, I can start my week off, right, in this way where I get to completely center and find like true north internally before I start a week off. And then when I finally let it happen, that's when everything stopped. I stopped. So I guess it would be to just trust the process and just let it happen. I come from this alpha-driven environment, right, where a lot of these modalities today, the things that are offered up in the way of floating or questing or any of the things that we've discussed in the past, they seem like, when I first hear them, it's like, oh, that's outside the box, that's new age stuff, that's frou-frou or whatever that is. And the reality is that what I've used to treat my symptoms of PTSD haven't worked. It's outside the box. It's an opportunity for me to be in a space where the environment that floating creates allows me the opportunity to just let go and to be completely held. I don't know any other way to say that.
In conjunction with anything, everything is better with floating, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of body pain, structural pain.
It's a reboot. It's like you clean your disc and things just stack up again, and you just and when you come out, certainly everything is the same, but not you. Changed a little, just a little. But 1 degree in a long journey takes you on a whole different route.